I'm Brent Leary. Yes, I'm Brent Leary. Yeah.
I'm not Brent Leary then. I'm Paul Greenberg. I was waiting for your answer to decide which one I was.
I know. You would think after the millionth and first time that I would have no problem delivering that, particularly since it's my name. But
Mhm.
every now and again.
I
But either way,
totally
we
get it.
are the CRM Players, and we are very glad to be here with you right now.
Yeah, it's gorgeous weather. I'm in a good mood, which is a rarity, but I am in one. And I'm actually getting things done as opposed to two-thirds done. You know how it is when you have like 18 projects that you're two-thirds finished with,
That would
and
be
none of
12
them are done.
projects that you're kind of.
No,
Anyway.
that's exactly the problem, right? So I'm finally like getting the other third done on a number of these.
Okay. Well, one thing that we can get done right now is the moment of spin.
Ah,
Not the moment of zen, but spin.
Sven. This is Sven
Alu
Buddhism.
Freund. Is that German?
Hallo,
Freunde?
hallo Freunde. Hallo
I think
Freunde.
that's. I think that's.
That would
Hey,
be
look who it is.
Oh, you know what? There was kind of knew this was going to be here. Hey, Shelby, how you doing?
Yes, it's nice to see you.
I know she's
Nice to see
awesome.
you.
Awesome.
All right. She almost took out Sven as the first commenter. That would have been
Nah,
interesting if that had happened.
we couldn't allow that. We'd have to wait till Sven came on and then show her second, just because it's Sven. He had right. He has front of the line privileges every week.
Yeah, Sven. That's why we call it the moment of Sven.
That's right.
And now the moment is over. Sorry, Sven. No, I'm just
All
kidding.
right.
Anyway,
See
well,
you
no, we're
later.
excited to be here. We got a good show. We got a couple of guests. Can we call one of the guests a guest? Because it really doesn't
No,
feel right saying
he
that.
might as well be the third player at this point.
Yeah, you might as well. I mean, but he's a good guy. We're not going to tell you who it is just yet, but we do have two great guests from a company you probably know very well, Freshworks, and they're kind of happy about things right now. I would say, wouldn't you say that? Kind of happy
Well,
about things.
if they're not, I'd literally go see a therapist because the reality is these guys have just been A, killing it, and B, have seen the results of that in a very lovely way, which we'll be talking about a little later. Good.
And I thought this guy was the other guy that we've been talking about. I thought that they were buddies, but apparently not. Esteban. First of all, it's nice to see Esteban's name. Remember when he used to be just LinkedIn user?
I know. Well, it happens with age. When you get older, you start remembering your name. You know how to enter things, data, stuff like that. Yeah.
Does he qualify for venerableness yet, or
No, he's actually
no?
younger than you, I think.
You got to be kidding me! I shouldn't have said that. No,
Hey,
really? I think we're born the same year, so you're probably right. All right, I get it. So yeah, you're not old enough if you're younger than me. So anyway, we're going to keep the venerableness at the Steve Gilmore, Paul Greenberg level. Is that?
well, I'm only going to use it as a tool, a weapon. Right? I'm never going to accept it.
A cudgel.
Right. Pretty much. Well, look, I'm the old guy here, okay? Right. So
Look, Danny's making like plans to meet up and stuff during the show. I'm glad we can bring people together, though. I do like
that's our great thing.
that. There it is. All right. Now, before we jump into introducing our guests and having a good discussion, um, you're excited about TikTok, right?
Yeah, I really am.
You are.
I really
Yeah.
am.
And so, and I've been curious. I'm not against it. And actually, after talking to one of my buddies, his son, James Brathwaite, he calls himself JB the Boxsmith, which is my friend's son, Jeff Brathwaite. So I did a conversation with this young man. He's only like 17, 18, and he has only been on TikTok since like mid-May. And I just heard from my buddy Jeff that he crossed over the 70,000 follower mark. and this he makes these videos, and they're really great videos of him creating things out of boxes. And I mean, he creates, and it's like if you're into gaming, he does a lot of things around the swords and the hammers and the things that you see in these video games. So he actually makes these videos of making these like tools or weapons out of boxes, and he goes through and actually walks through how he makes them. And he has one video that I think it might already be over 1 million at this point, but he's only made like a handful, like 6 or 7 videos, maybe a little bit more. But in the span of a couple of months and a couple of videos, this dude has gotten 70,000 followers on TikTok. That got me a little bit more interested in it, to be honest with you. And of course, you were interested way before that.
Well, look, I mean, from my standpoint, it's not only an interesting, well, okay, so let's sort of take it a little bit further. Let's take it to two places. One is most people know TikTok as basically it's a communication and entertainment platform, really. I mean, meaning it's a medium where you go, you actually, create and then you place and then consume videos of people doing stuff, whatever that may be. And over the last year in particular, several brands, actually many brands at this point, have gotten very active on TikTok. Avena was one of the early ones, I think, or Veda rather was one of the early ones, and they you can see upticks in business using TikTok, right? Up TikToks, and so
Up TikToks.
But what's it exactly right?
Hard to say that,
right? So, but as you know, because we both attended, was it Monday or Tuesday? TikTok actually held
Tuesday. TikTok World, right?
Right, Global TikTok World, or TikTok World Global. And what that was, look, it was well done, given it basically catered to a TikTok audience. All the presentations were really short.
Very well done, though.
Yeah, very high definition, very clean backgrounds. The speakers
nice music,
right?
Kept it moving.
Speakers
It was matter of fact
concise.
I have a little clip.
Oh, wow,
and this little clip, yeah, I just so happened to pull it out of my back pocket. This clip, but this clip illustrates why business folks really need to be paying attention to this. I'm going to play it. Here it goes.
Numbers here. 61% of people said they feel a sense of community on TikTok, and 92 of them said they take action after watching a video. But it's not just people having all the fun here, brands can too.
44% of users want branded content to be fun. And here, brands don't just advertise, they entertain. And that's possible with the help of our creators.
We know our way around TikTok.
Whether it's making videos, using features, or connecting with people.
Like this right here, and that too.
So what does this mean if you're a brand? Well, check this out. Our in-feed ads are 23% more memorable than TV ads. And our top view ads outperform TVs by 40%.
This is a transformation of entertainment like we've never
guy's
seen
lips.
before, filled with endless opportunities for brands and people to redefine the way they connect with each other and the world around them. Welcome to TikTok.
All right. Those stats ought to make you very interested in TikTok now. Did you see those stats?
Yeah, well, but it's not, I'm not at all surprised. I mean, I know, I hear story after story about kids who spend 6-7 hours a day on TikTok, which is, mild addiction there. But at the same time, I spend hour probably a day. Well, no, probably not an hour, but close to that on TikTok, investigating and watching and just seeing what's what. But I think more important, although it raises an interesting question, was what they announced at TikTok Global, which was actually the commercialization of TikTok, right? They
Commerce
actually
and
made
ads.
TikTok right. Well, commerce, ads, brand, and very brand focused, but
Yep.
they never ignored the concept of community throughout all those tools that they're releasing. So that what they're doing is taking TikTok from being not just a medium for entertainment and interaction, but it's also turning into a technology platform now too. And it's a technology platform that's designed for marketers primarily, but ultimately salespeople too. And you're going to see a proliferation of brands who are now got very, very, and they were sophisticated tools. These were not, a bunch of kids trying to figure out what marketing is. These are
They know it.
effectively they're pros.
already
And
know.
now, where that creates an interesting conundrum, I think, is I'm going to assume, and I'm pretty sure I'm right about this, that a lot of brands are going to take them up on what they release there. Those tools are being used by a lot of brands to do a lot of work for their brands. And then the question becomes, when does TikTok lose something of that organic community nature, because
It'll
there's
happen.
so many brands advertising so much on that.
Yeah.
Now, interestingly, YouTube's kind of figured that out, so that they cut, ads cut in, which are annoying, but they're not diminishing YouTube all that much. And in fact, not only that, they paid out $30 billion to creators this year.
I would say YouTube figured out even better than that. I pay $11.99 a month, so I don't have to do anything with those ads. And that's where you get folks who are okay with the ads because they don't want to have to pay, and folks like me who will pay not to see an ad, while I'm watching the Prince reaction video. And that's just me. All right. One last thing on that. Remember when last week JB, Jonathan Becker, president of San Jose Sharks, said we're getting to the point where there are actually going to be as many, if not more, creators than consumers? This TikTok is setting up for that right now. This all the stuff that they just announced, it's setting up to do that, and it's really interesting to see.
So I have one announcement relative to TikTok, and then I think you have something we really need to get on before we bring the guests on. So to that end, next week our guest on CRM Playaz will be Eugene Wei, and you'll see throughout the week more about him. But Eugene Wei, what I highly recommend is do your homework before you come and listen to this guy. He's a wonderful guy. Just talked to him a couple of days ago for about 2 hours, and go to eugenewei.com. That's EUGENEWEI.com, and read his 3 blog posts on the TikTok and the TikTok algorithm. They're brilliant. They're exceptionally well written, and they will actually open your eyes to what TikTok's doing and why they're doing as well as they are. We're lucky enough to have this rather humble guy who's done incredibly brilliant stuff on the show next week. So watch the Playaz next week for that. And I think you've got something you want to announce too, don't you?
Yeah, just very quick. Let me pop this up. In conjunction with our buddy, Ron Miller, who is a longtime enterprise tech reporter guru. He writes like 5 articles in the span of 20 minutes. And I've seen him do it. But so Ron and Ron actually had this really great article where he was talking with Jeff Lawson and Libra Clemens of Twilio about Twilio wanting to be an anti-racist company. And I had been having these conversations around, kind of, are we in a moment or a movement ever since the George Floyd situation came about? And I've had these ongoing conversations. A couple have been with Chief Procurement Officer for Salesforce, Craig Cuffey. And so when I saw Ron's article and, kind of coupling with the conversations I had, I said, hey, Ron, we should, since you're interested in this and I'm interested in it, why don't we do something? Why don't we bring some of these folks together and have a little broader conversation, real-time conversation, real conversation, not scripted or anything like that. And he said, yeah, let's do it. And so we are very excited because we invited the 2 of the folks that we've had the best kind of conversations with, Libra Clemens from Ron, his conversation, and Craig Huffey from a couple of my conversations to come together. And they said yes. And then we were even more excited when Alan Jones, who's the CEO and founder of a tech startup called Bambi, who Ron has also had some really interesting conversations with. We want to get a perspective of, the kind of the bigger companies in tech, and then a perspective of a Black startup CEO. And so we were able to bring this together. We're calling it Walking the Walk, Tech's Response to George Floyd in Year 2. It is next Wednesday, 2:30 p.m. East Coast time. And if you go to my LinkedIn profile, you'll see a link, and you'll be able to sign up. It's free, but in order to actually see the recording or see it in real time, or if you're not able to make it, if you sign up, you'll be able to get to the recording. So we would love to have you, because it's a conversation. The comments or the conversation will be driven by the folks on screen, but we will be posting comments and kind of thoughts coming from the comment stream too. So please join us if you can. If you're interested, we would love to have you there. All right. Okay. So do we have anything else before we bring them out?
No, I think we're good.
I have something else to set the stage for them. Here's a little clip from 2 weeks ago.
Went out to that market maker line. He just said, final orders in. We're going to be opening up any moment here. So just hang tight. And everyone, if you're around the globe, wherever you are, do not walk away. Do not walk away. We are very, very close.
I wonder what's going to happen.
I don't know. Anything?
Ladies and gentlemen, we're getting instructions. We are open for training. That's it. Woo!
I think I see somebody I know in the corner.
White buck. White buck.
Look at that. Oh, look at all that.
Yeah, I know. Nice numbers.
That's why everybody is so happy.
There you have it. I promised it was well worth the wait. We're officially welcoming Freshworks to NASDAQ at $43.50 on 3.5 million shares. Congratulations and welcome to the NASDAQ family.
Yeah, nice. And welcome to the CRM Playaz family. Stacey Epstein. And I mean, how can we welcome this guy? We can't get rid of him. But he's back. Our buddy Alan Berkson. Hello. Thank you for joining us, and congratulations. That was cool.
Yeah, that was really cool. I've never watched an IPO in my life, but I watched it that day.
Did you?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, oh no. Well, you guys, and you killed it, and you still are from when I last looked. So, congrats. I mean, that's a big deal. So, okay. So, tell us something. I mean, I think Brent and I probably know a decent chunk of this story because Alan's super good at his job. But what got you to the point that you had that? Let's say, wow, that was interesting.
Sorry, that was my dog.
No, it wasn't that. It was Shelby's comment was she had whoop whoop at the exact second the dog barked twice.
The dog was responding.
We timed it. Wait, I think Alan, though, do you have a lawnmower going on? There we go.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Of course, that's when it happens right now, right?
Right. Yeah.
He's been wanting to be on this show for like years, and now we got him as a special guest, and the mowers are here. Perfect.
The USB mic. It's the USB mic. So first of all, what is it that made you in effect, not literally, but in effect, what is it that made you decide, okay, you know what? It's time to go IPO. What did you do that got you to the point that you were confident as a company that it was worth that effort?
Well, of course, it was all my decision. So thank you for recognizing that.
We always did.
That decision was made even before I came. I mean, I think Freshworks has had really steady growth over many years, really since the beginning. And you could argue that we were of the size and scale to go public a while ago, frankly. I think the getting the back office infrastructure into a good place, making sure our metrics were repeatable. There were a lot of things that we just wanted to make sure we had right before we entered the public markets. And it's certainly a great time in the market, as we know. So it all just lined up to this being a great time. I think Tyler Sloat coming in almost 2 years ago, year and a half ago, and really focusing on the finance function. And, we've sort of added senior leadership across the company and also just a great time for us to really get a lot more focus on who we are as a company and building that brand equity. That this was a great time to do it.
Well, certainly.
Can I ask?
Certainly.
I want to ask
paid
Alan
off.
a question. Alan, what role did developing the corporate narrative have in this successful IPO?
100%, Brent. 100%. It's all about the corporate narrative.
Inside joke. That's an inside joke, Stacey.
This is part of the drinking game. If you're holding drinks anywhere, this is part of the drinking game. Corporate narrative. Take a drink.
We've known Alan for years and years and years as a friend. Aside from, I knew him before Freshworks. So actually several years before Freshworks. So he's one of our favorite human beings, period. Right. So
Alan, what number employee were you?
My claim to fame is I am US 1. First one hired outside of India. So
all right. So I have a question for you, Stacey, though, that is the going forward part of this. Because look, you're CMO. You're now a public company, which, as much as people, it's the equivalent of people say, well, living together is no different than getting married. But then it turns out, I guess it is somewhat. Right. So, but now people say, well, private company, public company, we're just still a company. Well, no, it's not quite the case. Plus, you're more, let's say, regulated than you used to be, so to speak. And a lot of other things that constrain you. On the other hand, it obviously frees you up to do a lot of things given capital and everything else coming available. So going forward with Freshworks from the standpoint of its overall messaging, the fact that you're in a market that's changing really fast and really dramatically right now. And if you heard anything of our TikTok conversation, it's just an indicator of what we've been talking about for quite a while on that. And Freshworks at the same time has, let's call it the traditional pillars of CRM, sales, marketing, customer service, especially the latter. And each of them is in a somewhat different level of development. What's the messaging going forward going to look like? What are you trying to align with? How are you thinking about the market? I know it's a lot of questions, but
it all just comes back to the corporate narrative.
Yeah,
that's all I do. That's all I care about every day, day in and day out. And then I call Alan and we work on it there. I joke, and I don't even know your inside joke, but there is a lot of truth to that, frankly. And both Alan and I were very, very deep in the writing of the S1 and the prospectus. And as you say, what is the messaging going forward? We worked really hard. You have this moment when you're going public and it's like suddenly you have all these eyeballs on your company that you didn't have before. And we can probably all agree that Freshworks is a lot bigger and more successful than maybe a lot of the market even knows, especially compared to some of the other players in the space that just have a lot more brand recognition. And so it was really important to us to capture the essence of who we are as a company, what we stand for, what our ethos is, at the same time that we're communicating the value prop of each of our products, which, frankly is the corporate narrative, right? But going back to your TikTok question, your conversation, I saw in one of the comments, someone said the problem for B2B on TikTok is that it has to be really short. And I would argue that you really do need to capture who you are as a company in a pretty short way. Nobody has patience these days for, to read a scrolling web page to understand really the essence of what a company is. We want to know, like, if I can't get it in a quick TikTok video, I'm scrolling on to the next one. And that's, I think we focused a lot on who are we as our differentiators. And you may have, if you watched any of the IPO or any of the publicity surrounding Freshworks, we honed it into 3 words, which is delight made easy. And I think any CRM company, I would hope, is peddling delight, right? That's the whole goal of CRM, is making sure that customers are happy, making sure that salespeople, like, delight is what we all do in the CRM space. But Freshworks' differentiator is that we're really focused on making it easy. And that's not to say that the difference between us and maybe many of the competitors in the space is that we're not claiming to be anything and everything to every company. We're claiming to be for companies of all sizes, but companies that want fast, easy, affordable, don't necessarily want to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars and 12 to 18 months on a customized implementation strategy with a consultant. This is for people that are like, hey, I want chat, I want AI, I need a way to very quickly get my salespeople in a position to sell more. And maybe I don't either have the resources or I don't want to spend the resources to do these big, huge implementation plans. And that's our differentiator. And so it does all come back to that ethos for me. And as we build products, and this is way before me, this is our CEO from when he founded the company, has had this focus on the user and the focus on that customer service agent who is trying to solve problems, that marketer who is trying to execute a campaign. What do they need? And let's build that versus, and I won't pick on competitors, but in our other, this is CRM, we also play in ITSM and in other spaces. The big guy in ITSM, they state one of their goals is they want to get in the C-level of the Fortune 500. That's their target buyer. That is not what we're about. We're about making the users happy. And if the users are happy and we're making their lives easy, that's how we sell more software. So again, it comes back to just, as we move forward, IPO's behind us, we're a public company now, we're going to continue to build products for users that make it easy for them to delight their customers.
Any follow-up, Alan?
No, I think that what she's talked about with Girish, we call him G, that was the founding principle for Freshworks was, that it was about easy to use software that the end users love and that, easy to adopt, easy to configure. It doesn't, it's all about that ease. So, and, we've stuck through it and it's been consistent over the years.
We got a question coming in from one of our players in residence, Anand Thakur. Can you share with us the makeup of the current Freshworks community and how it will evolve in the near future and post IPO? He always has these intelligent sounding questions, doesn't he?
And if he said it, it would sound even more intelligent because he's got that voice.
He's just way too good for us, basically.
Like the golden smog. Yeah. Well, that was on the Flintstones. Sorry about that.
And even despite all that, I'm not quite sure what he means by community. Do we mean products or do we mean the actual community of customers?
I think it's probably what Anna's working on in that team in terms of us building out the community to help customers be able to get more, not only from the product, but learn from each other and do their jobs better.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think we do have we have 52,000 plus customers. We have a huge community of users and customers. We've launched a refresh community, which is online, which is the place for them to gather and share best practices and interact with their peers. We are having a big refresh conference in November where we'll be gathering people together, mostly virtual, some in person as well. So we're really working on building out those community of users and giving them a place to interact and learn from each other and share best practices.
So let me sort of go back to your last point, because I have to say, when you said delight made easy, that's probably the first time I've had let's say a statement that kind of threw me a little bit in a good way. I mean, it kind of, as Alan and Brent knows, I'm not terribly tongue-tied, but that one sort of tongue-tied me. And the reason being, and it's to your credit, actually, in this one, believe me. Again, I'm a New Yorker, so I pretty much will say what I'm thinking in a modestly filtered way. So here's the thing. So I am not a believer in a focus that, or let's say a constant statement that says, our job is to delight the customer all the time, because I think that's a ridiculous statement because it can't be done. But you didn't say that, actually, even if you used the word delight. You said delight made easy, and your focus was on made easy. And see, why I got effectively like tongue locked is probably closer to it, was that what I actually think customers want is convenience, meaning make it easy for us to do what we do with you, and so that we can do it as quickly as possible, because we have other things in our lives we want to do. You're a company, you're not the love of our life, right? And we have jobs to do with you that we want help with. We have jobs to do and we need help with that, and you guys are making it easy for us to do that. Thank you. Right? And that's, if you do that and you take care of all those baseline activities that customers make it easy on customers, of course they're going to love you, right? Because you're doing exactly what they're asking of you. But they're not, I don't think they're asking you for delight, but that's what I'm saying. You actually are focusing on the right thing. Would I use the word delight? Probably not. But the reality is, your focus is absolutely on the money, right? Because it really is a focus around, let's make it as easy and convenient for customers as we humanly can, or as we technologically can, actually, in this case, and really, really impact them in a way that lets them live their life in a way they want, right? So, and I think that's really something, and that's what I said. But the statement itself, just like, I didn't even know how to respond.
Yeah, I know. I mean, Alan and I, we could go back to the early days of simmering around that tagline in our company, and I do agree that delight is often overused, and that's it's a little bit too bad for us, because I do think, in the past, one of the taglines in the earlier days at Freshworks was moments of wow. And gosh,
not
really
wow, wow, just wow.
Wow and wow.
Sorry.
That's all right.
That's all right.
Geez, one second.
We have a dog that somebody has that we can introduce him to.
My dog is named Curry after Steph Curry. So if you guys want to talk about it, we can do that next.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, I remember having the debate with Alan, and even Alan saying, the analysts aren't going to like the delight word because it's overused. Like, we had that exact conversation. And I was like, stick with me. Our differentiator is the easy. Like, and sometimes even still, I'll be reading copy of a campaign we're going to launch, and I'll see lots of the delight, and I'll be like, no, we need to edit this. The differentiator is the easy. Everybody claims to do delight. It's what everybody does. Like, we're all here to try to make customers happy. That's what any company is trying to do, right? Whether you're a car company or a CPG, like, you're trying to make your customers happy. That's how you get people to buy. Our differentiator is the easy part. But the delight part is the value proposition for the company that we sell to, right? The delight is what we do, and the easy is how we do it. And so that's why encapsulating it that way, I think, again, we had a lot of conversation about it, and there were other, like, ridiculously easy software for CRM is another thing we've been using in some of our campaigns that we've been launching around the IPO. And I love that too, right? It's ridiculously easy software, but that doesn't really give the value proposition to, like, okay, so it's easy, but what do I do with it? What does it help me do? So it is, delight made easy. We have it. I think we're going to really make something of it. I think it's going to have real meaning, and hopefully people can get past the delight is a little bit overused, but it is genuine to Freshworks. It, like, you know, from the beginning, our CEO G, he's been an emphatic, like, I want to make people have moments of wow. And it's not just about solving the problem, it's about going above and beyond. And so we wanted to capture that too.
All right.
I mean,
so first of
I'll
all,
buy into it for now.
So first of all, G has made several thousand people have moments of wow 2 weeks ago. So I think he can cross that one off the list. Now, I'm going to go in a completely, I'm going to take a left turn, and I realize that I may be putting Stacey's return visit in jeopardy at this point, but
this soon?
I've got to ask. Yeah.
I mean, you already threw water on my tagline, so.
No, I
okay.
I literally paid you the highest compliment I could possibly pay.
Stacey, he really
believe
did.
me. I literally rail against that idea usually, but this is the first time I've ever said, well, I can see it that way. Right? I've never ever said that ever.
Good.
Right.
Stacey, literally.
Then I'm coming back. So don't ruin it.
The only time that we actually disagreed, the only time we really disagreed on this show was over that statement. So, and just to hear him now, I kind of lost a few words myself. But I'm going to put all of that in jeopardy because I have to ask you this, because it's been a big. It didn't start out. It wasn't supposed to be a big thing. We have this weekly happier hour where, you know, a bunch of folks who like the show and like talking about CRM, we get together and stuff comes up. And I don't even remember how this actually came up, but we got on the subject of bagels. And
you remember how it came up?
I don't really remember.
All right. Well, we won't repeat it right now. Good.
Okay. Yeah. Needless to say, it's become a big running subject, and there are surprisingly very huge, heated opinions on this. So I'm going to ask you, and I realize I'm in the minority here in a couple ways. But anyway, so do you consider, first of all, let me just ask, do you consider a blueberry bagel to be of the bagel family?
There's religious connotations in all of this. You know?
Oh boy. I mean, I need to consult with Curry before I will tell you got two New Yorkers on here, and just so we're clear, I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico. So yeah, so you're already taking my opinion on bagels with a grain of salt.
Not bad.
I did go to Emory University, so that like ups my
Emory
ups my bagel knowledge. And I will say, my 9-year-old has a blueberry bagel with cream cheese every single
That's
morning.
your 9-year-old though.
That's my 9. No,
you want to keep the family happy, right?
Children are children. They have to grow up.
It is not a real bagel.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm
back.
crushed. It was looking like it was going the right direction, and then you just fell me off, threw me right off the cliff there, Stacey.
A savory fruit baked good. That's not a bagel.
Savory fruit baked good. This became one of the funniest discussions in the history of So Alan was actually one of the instigators of it. One of the things we do with the show is we bring people on literally from the audience live. We just pull them into the show right in the middle of the show. And we had this one show where that's all we did. And we had Alan was on, and I think Dina Apostolou from now VP of Contentful was on, and we had Nitin Bajita, and he's now with SAP. He was on, and Nitin was talking about how he'd lived in Queens for several years, and so I decided to, and he was living in Forest Hills, which is, as you know, predominantly Jewish, right? So I said to him, well, I just want to see if, and Nitin, of course, is definitely not Jewish, but I said to him, well, I want to see if any of the tribe remains from your time there. And I said, what do you think of blueberry bagels? Oh, and Esteban Kolsky was on, right? So now keep in mind, Alan, me, and Esteban are Jewish, right? So Nitin goes, I said, what do you think of blueberry bagels? He goes, they're an abomination. And then me, and this is without any prompting at all, me, Alan, and Esteban go, yeah, like all the time, in absolute sync, right? And everybody's like thrilled to death. So that's led to this continual thing. There's only two things that will keep you off the next show. That and are you a football?
We got to save that for the. We got to save that
right.
for the last. Now.
All right, we'll get to there.
But Brent, you know,
the truth is, the person you need to have on your show is my husband. He literally will he's constantly reading new restaurant openings around the Bay Area, and he'll be like, "There's one in Oakland. They say they're authentic bagels. We have to go try." And we'll track down, and we'll go and we'll get there, and he's like, never happy.
You know what? Does he like Essa
I'm afraid
bagel?
of him already.
Does he like Essa bagel?
Acid bagel?
No, Essa bagel. Essa bagel is it's literally one of the best bagels in New York, at least, if not the whole country. Go to Gold Belly and just order straight from there.
Oh, maybe I'll
actually ship.
That's a good
it's
idea.
worth it. It's worth it. They ship.
One of our guys on my team, when we were in New York, he said there's a pizza place, and he lives in LA. This is Mark Gerges, Ellen. He said that there's a place in LA where they ship water in from New York to make pizza, because they say that's how they make the dough, is using the New York water, and they ship it in, and then it's the best New York pizza you can get in LA. So maybe we need to do that. But
it's all about the water.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all about the water. Hey, Brent. Just one question you should ask Stacey is: you said I was wearing those white trainers in the picture. There's actually a good story around that, and they were Stacey's idea.
Well, Stacey.
Well, then that goes to the whole project name for the IPO. Every banker transaction in the world has to have some secret name, right? And so usually they're named after the first letter of the company name. So if I'm trying to think of a name, for Morgan Stanley, who was our lead banker, they wanted to name it Falcon, because it's F for Freshworks. So our investor relations guy is okay, we're kicking off the Falcon process, and our CEO was like, Falcon? What that's terrible. No, we're calling it Superstar. And we all, June, he's our IR guy, and I looked at each other, we're like, Superstar? That's that's so not us. We're the humble company, we're genuine and authentic. We're low ego Superstar. Well, there is a very, very famous sort of Bollywood movie star in India, and his Hollywood name or Bollywood name is Superstar. But the story behind Superstar is that he's very much a rags to riches, was incredibly poor and a self-made, and became a star. And with his money and fame and power, he pours it all into philanthropy. And so he's changed zillions of lives in India, which is kind of becoming G's story, right? Rags to riches, has been very successful, pumping money into philanthropy. And so anyway, once we heard the story, we're like, okay, we're bought into Superstar, even though the rest of the world is not going to, but whatever, it's an internal code name. Nobody really hears it. Well, then you should go read it in our S1, in our prospectus, in his CEO letter, there's a tribute to Superstar, and there's a picture of him. And when the S1 went out, India went nuts. We got so much coverage on Twitter, and it was just I can't believe, Superstar's my idol, and Freshworks, and we got, it turned out to be this very brilliant marketing thing, which was not G's intent, but I was like, yes, I'm going with it. So I happened to be in where was I? I don't know. I was in a store. Maybe I was on TikTok. I don't know. But I saw these trainers. Do you have it on, Alan? I wish I had it on.
I don't have them on now.
Well, so they're also called clamshells. Those Adidas white shoes with the clamshell toe, and they have those are called Superstars, and it says Super. That's like the name of that type of shoe. So I saw it in a store or wherever, and I was like, oh, these are so brilliant. We're gonna get these. So we had about 75 employees get to go to New York. For the IPO, and we had little swag boxes in their rooms with t-shirts. And then, our logo is very colorful, very accessible, lots of colors of the rainbow. So we got rainbow shoelaces, and we put the rainbow shoelaces on the Superstar shoes, and everybody of course, everyone was like, why do you need to know my shoe size before I go to New York? Are you vaccinated? Did you have a test? And what's your shoe size? For me, to fill out. So it was like waiting in people's hotel rooms. And then, of course, at the IPO and at the parties, you'll see all the pictures of people wearing their Superstar shoes. So that's the story.
Nice.
Sorry.
That's great.
That's
actually amazing.
Did you also get that nice? What's that? A vest you're rocking there, Alan, with the Freshworks?
It's a little chilly in New York today, so I just thought I'd put a vest on.
Yeah.
It's only
really chilly
84.
inside. Oh,
Right.
look at this.
It's a little chilly in New York, so
That's a sleeveless.
Well, this is what the West Coast bankers get you, because it's all about the vests on the West Coast.
Wait,
like the
isn't
Bill
Morgan
Belichick vest
Stanley-
or something?
Isn't Morgan Stanley in New York?
But they're all over the place.
My
Have
cousin
you-
used to run
when's
institutional
the-
investment for him.
When's the last time you saw a Morgan Stanley banker who was not wearing a vest like this?
I never. My
Saw the
cousin
word.
actually ran he ran institutional investment for him for all telcos, and he actually is the guy who privatized China's telephone company. Put 1 million miles on in 1 year and flying. Even Morgan Stanley, this is like a nuts thing, but they're so crazy about this stuff that as he's flying to China, he spends 1 million miles flying. And as he's going back for his last trip of the year, they say, well, this thing's come up in Tel Aviv. Can you stop there on the way back? And he said, what are you, crazy? I'm not like getting milk at a store, right? He said, you're asking me to go to Tel Aviv rather than go home. He said, no. And he didn't. But I mean, that's their mindset, just a whole other universe. It's just not the same. But I got a lot of his son is currently a investment banker at Morgan Stanley too. So I see them all the time. Let's say they're still wearing suits. Right.
They were not last week. I'm telling you, it's changed. Like they all look like Alan now. They all have these on.
Wow. Okay.
This is the new uniform. Come on, it's a button up. They still wear their button up shirts with the collar, and then they all wear the vest. This is what they do.
All you need is a hoodie on the back of that. You got the Bill Belichick
tie.
look.
A tie,
Who would want
button
that?
up shirt, and a Freshworks vest.
Is this when we talk about football, Brent?
We're getting there.
No, we're getting close, but I'm going to switch. Going to take that right turn, or is it left turn at Albuquerque? What?
You took
left turn at Albuquerque.
Left turn at Albuquerque. All right. So, what do you think is going to be like the biggest challenge or adjustment post IPO for you guys?
Challenge or adjustment? I mean, honestly, I think we gotta just keep doing what we've been doing. We've been consistently executing. We've been consistently growing. We've been broadening our suite. As you know, we were Fresh Desk not that many years ago. We were a one product company, and now we have Fresh Desk, Fresh Sales, Fresh Marketer. We have Fresh Service serving the employee service and ITSM. We've launched Fresh Team, so starting to get into that HR space. And, I think we just need to, again, stick to our ethos, which is delight made easy. We talk about, you've been traditionally SMB and mid-market, or, what about going into the enterprise? Are you going to lose what makes you great by trying to go after the enterprise? And the truth is, we're a PLG company. People come and they try the product and they love it and it's easy and they implement it. We're not saying, we're going to start to build those, 50,000 RFP question boxes to check so that we can go after the enterprise. We're being more and more successful in the enterprise because we're getting pulled there, because it turns out enterprises like easy and fast and affordable too. So I think it's less about adjusting and more about making sure we stay true to who we are, building products for users, always keeping an eye toward what do those users want. And that obviously changes. Technology changes that. It used to be omni-channel just meant email and phone. Well, now chat is what everybody wants and needs. And so keeping up with that, seeing ahead, obviously we've got a little bit of a war chest now that we can maybe go do some interesting things in the market. But again, I don't think it's adjusting and changing. I think it's staying true to who we are and just continuing to execute.
Makes sense. What about, are you looking into commerce? On the commerce side? Because that's become sort of a additional, and this is mostly the larger CRM companies, but they've tended to add commerce as part of their portfolio, even though it's not a fourth pillar exactly, but it's an additional piece that is tying nicely into the other three.
Yeah, I would say it's not a near-term pillar for us. I think we do have some interesting stuff with some good partnerships that are brewing around the corner. Obviously, I can't preempt any of our launches, but for today, we're looking at the strength of our platform and who are the powerful players that we can integrate with to bring that commerce component more into our suite. I don't know, Alan, if you have anything you want to add to that.
I want to go back to the other question on the challenge side, because in some ways we've actually we thought about it pre-IPO, and I know Stacey's here and she's my boss, and I'm going to throw that out the window. We brought on some leadership that we knew we needed to help get us to that next level, to be prepared for that. We brought on a CFO who's been there, done that. We brought on a chief product officer, our chief marketing officer, and all across board legal. So we've actually built this unbelievable team before the IPO. And so that, I think, gives us both the history that we have at the company in terms of our culture, which I've been here a long time. It's unique. I've never seen it in any other company. But then bringing in that experienced leadership and maybe a mature hand on the wheel, so to speak, to help us take it to the next level. I think that, so in some ways we've I'm not saying that we're not going to have challenges, but we've taken steps to make that leap towards, what does it mean to be a public company?
Hey, I'm going to pop up. Gosh, somebody jumped in there before I could get that. All right. Anand is a very inquisitive person, as you can see. So he has another question. Startup acquisitions have been great for Freshworks. How do you all see startup ecosystem play a role in future growth? And can I tack on to that? You've seen the other players, kind of the big name players in the space. They don't just make acquisitions. Some of these acquisitions are blockbusters. Salesforce, Slack, and amongst others. I don't know. ServiceNow does acquisition. I haven't seen anything the size of that. But do you see, because you're kind of, going public, you've raised a nice war chest. Do you see yourselves doing maybe more significant acquisitions, not just in terms of the money, but you see something that might be really important to the growth of the company, and you could either build or buy, but because you have the war chest, it might, the buy option might become a bigger option before, pre-IPO. Do you see those kinds of changes taking place?
Yeah,
hey, Stacey, I have an AR answer if you want me to put that one in.
That's all right.
Uh-oh.
I was gonna just let them know that we're planning to acquire Salesforce. So it's
You heard it here first. You heard it here first.
You heard it
right.
I'll give you probably what is also the AR answer. I mean, we do have a history of acquisitions. In fact, if you read, we were lucky enough to be the cover story in Forbes India this week, which, if you want to hear the story of G and how he started the company and sort of look at the timeline of Freshworks, it's a really the Hardy, who's the writer from Forbes, did a really awesome job on it. But he wrote, there's a timeline of every acquisition that Freshworks has done in a visual. So we definitely have a history of supplementing our solution with acquisitions, some of them bigger than others. I mean, most of them relatively small, certainly compared to what we could do now. I mean, we absolutely now have much more resources and capability, both from just like we raise money in the IPO, but also, as Alan mentioned, like we have really good infrastructure for potentially, integrating other companies. So I do think you'll see us continue to be active in the M&A space. Certainly nothing in the works that even if I could, I would talk but I do think that will continue to be part of what we do. And then also, as I mentioned, our platform, our Neo platform has been a great place for some, not only customizations, but even other applications that work with Freshworks. I think we'll continue to see more innovation coming from that platform. And that can be a source of extending what Freshworks can do, whether it leads to acquisitions or not. It's just an extension of the areas of the business that we can touch from a solution perspective.
All right. So
is that the AR answer, Alan?
No, my AR answer is a little different. My AR answer is, one piece of it is the fact that we've successfully integrated these acquisitions. We have a history of not just buying a company, but actually integrating it into our products. And that's always gotten a lot of resonation. But the other thing, I want to answer Anand's question in a different way, because he talked about the startup ecosystem. We are very active globally in the startup ecosystem, but Freshworks is the first SaaS company to IPO out of India. And there's a wave, and we are setting a precedent there. We have there's a lot of influence we have. There are companies that are coming up behind, and so there's a leadership role that we've taken in terms of helping to build out that ecosystem, which is expanding. So it's a synergy. We're helping them start their companies. Maybe there's some acquisitions there. We don't know. But there's a lot of activity and a lot of leadership that we're seeing from that perspective. And G can't walk around India right now without having to sign autographs.
Do you have like a Y Combinator type of environment for startups of your own, or are you looking into those kind of things?
Well, G is an investor in a fund called the Together Fund, which invests in and he does that with his money, not with Freshworks money. Mm-hmm. So it's certainly related, and I think we'll see more of an ecosystem coming, and we'll be supportive of it. But it isn't associated with Freshworks per se today.
Okay, thank you.
But are we looking at 2-3 years out before you buy Salesforce? All right.
And was Curry involved in the acquisition?
He's asleep right now, so
no. But Neo was. Neo is G's dog is Neo.
Yeah, I saw him on that on the. It was almost like it was the Freshworks IPO show. Because Stacey, you were like the host. You were running around, interviewing people, and that's pretty cool.
We were going for, man. Got to put on a show.
All right. So you have put on a show today. We appreciate you being here. You cleared the first hurdle. I mean, I was personally hurt, but I won't hold it against you. The blueberry bagel thing. Now, this one, if you get wrong, you're out.
This is showstopper.
This is both of us too, by the way. We're in absolute alignment on this one.
All right. So, do you have a favorite NFL team?
Oh, come on. This is ridiculous. You guys can't throw me out because of my allegiance to an NFL team.
Well, it depends.
What is that team? What is that team?
Well, I will say this. I grew up in Albuquerque. Remember that. There's no NFL team in Albuquerque. At the time of my growing up, you will know how old I am. It was all about the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Minnesota Vikings. And those were my teams that I loved growing up. All that said, I've been in the Bay Area for 30 years.
You're going in the right direction, Stacey. You're good.
You can't
Keep going.
live in the Bay
Keep
Area
going.
without
Keep going.
being a 49ers fan.
All right, no, that's it.
No, you're good.
in.
You're good.
You're
You
good.
passed
You're
the
good.
test.
You're good. There's only
There
one.
was only really
wrong
one
answer.
wrong
Brent,
answer.
why don't you reveal it?
Yeah, no matter how much I detest the Minnesota Vikings for basically ruining my childhood, where the Rams should have been at least 2 to 3 additional Super Bowls in the 70s, and we got beat, and we were always the better. All right, I better step away.
Jim Everett is from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Did you know that, Brent?
I didn't, but you're off the hook. Don't worry about it. You're doing it. The only wrong answer would have been the New England Patriots.
Oh, no way.
Oh no! See, there you go.
That's
not,
even better.
You turned it from a not wrong to a right answer. Right.
Now, all that said, I have respect for Tom Brady's skills.
You could just stop right now.
No,
if you
I
really
do. And he's a Bay Area kid. Like, come on, he's a good player, but no way. I cannot. No way.
Doing so well.
0.
All right. So,
and Alan and I literally have no standing whatsoever. So, he's a Jets fan. I'm a Giants fan. So,
And the Yankees and the Warriors. Now we've rounded it out.
well, I'm Yankees and I'm Yankees. And
you got
actually
both.
Warriors
I'm
and
a
Knicks.
Warriors fan.
I'm a
Yeah.
diehard Yankees fan.
Yeah.
Diehard.
I'm telling you, you got to hang out with my husband.
Well, listen, you know what I will do? We're friendly with the CRM guy for the Yankees. So we'll talk afterwards about this.
They need
Or
to
you'll kibitz?
If they're not already, they need
Oh,
to.
no, they've already got what they're going to have on the technology side.
Oh, wait till they see Delight Made Easy.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to work. I know that organization pretty well now, and take my word for it. They don't care about the light.
Yeah, their fans don't have a choice. They're born and bred Yankees fans for life.
It's pretty much what they do.
I live with one. Trust me, I live with
Right.
one.
So, and you know what it is especially if you're born in the New York area, they spray the whole area every year at least once, and they automatically inject some DNA in you that makes you a Yankees fan, and you can't change it. Right now, some people resist, like Alan.
The whole New York area.
Yeah, no, everything. That's what I'm saying. There are gene resistance, though, like you have it. And
there's no zip code in the U.S. where Mets fans are the dominant fan.
No,
that's
not even their own.
Not even in Queens. Not even in Queens.
Yeah.
Oh, come! Wow, that's sad.
Do you know
sad,
Esteban
actually.
Kolsky? Because if you don't really need to know what statements like this.
He literally does not believe it.
I'm laughing at the person named LinkedIn user that told me I gave a non-answer, but they don't even have their name.
Who was
that? It's like the kettle calling
who it is.
The pot black, right?
We know who it is.
that?
We know who they are. His initials are Bob Fagel. That's
but why would you? That's just
he's also a Patriots fan, Stacey. That's the problem.
So so that's another reason not to want to. Anyway, it's been a pleasure. It's been fun having you guys
You've been
on.
awesome.
Alan was pretty good too.
Alan he's just part of the fabric, really. I mean, he's always here, but I gotta say,
that
Stacey, you were
couch you want to get rid of.
I have to pump myself up so I can be at the level of Alan. So I stood in front of the mirror for hours.
I think you do pretty
well.
well.
What am I going to say? I got to be smart.
I could see you're really worried. You're really worried.
Yeah.
Wow. You are definitely, you got the right sense of humor I'll tell you. You're my type of human being. You were amazing, really. You were. Look, if you can get me to not hate the light, you did really well.
I love that. To get him to not hate the light.
That's pretty much. That's as far as I'll ever go.
That sounds like
I'm willing to be quoted in one of your documents as an analyst saying that.
Yeah,
I got me.
Actually, Paul, this is funny. We should share with Paul some of our a lot of our branding campaigns are around turning people you turn a bad customer service situation into a good one. So it's like you see the word unhappiness and then it turns into unleash happiness. It's like from dist to blissed. And like we have a
I saw
lot of
that in
plays.
the video.
So I think that's what we did with you. Like we turned your frown upside down.
Ooh, I was hoping you would say that.
I
was waiting for that.
We didn't use that. We
But I
didn't use
never
that.
frown. I just never frown. Right. So that doesn't happen. Right. So
Paul always smiles.
I am always
All right.
smiling.
And on that
even
note,
if I'm anti something, I'm still friendly. Right. So
I think we should leave it on that that very
positive
note.
I will say, not only
Yeah.
were you an amazing guest from Freshworks standpoint, but not Patriots, blueberry bagels. Man, this is like perfection.
2 out of 3. I can't go the whole thing.
I'd venture to call it delightful.
We're all going to.
Wow. How could we top that? So thank you so much for joining. Thank you both for joining us.
You wonderful.
And on behalf of Stacey Epstein and Alan Berkson, I'm Brent Leary.
I'm Paul Greenberg.
We are the CRM Players, and we have to end with our corporate narrative.
Love that.